Greeting everyone. Hope you had a productive day. Welcome back to my channel. Those of you who have sent me your dreams to interpret, I just want to say thank you for trusting me and for sharing those very interesting dreams. Very, very interesting. Keep them coming. And when I have enough, maybe one day I'll do a live with my interpretations. Only if you wish for me to do it. And if you want me to, without mentioning your name, I can do that as well. But keep them coming. Those of you who are dreamers, I suggest you get a book. You write your dreams down. Date it. Write them down. And when you write it on a page or 2-page, make sure you leave a blank page so you can, when it's interpreted, not by me, but when you get to figure out these symbols and see, especially if they're recurring themes, you will know what the answer is. And over time, over a period of time, you'll then understand, like I do. There was a time when I would get these graphic dreams, but I didn't know what they meant. I always had to ask somebody who had experience interpreting dreams. Now I can do my own. I can interpret other person's dreams. My dreams have changed in a way that now it's not just about me anymore. It's not about my life. I can actually see and interpret dreams myself. There was a time when I was terrified of it. I was afraid of it. I was ashamed of it, but not anymore. I see it as a blessing. I see it as a gift, and I fully embrace it. I forgot who made a comment on my channel. Forgive me if I don't remember your name, but you said, something to the effect that I should embrace it. And I do embrace it because I've had enough experience over the years and seeing how it's like 100%. Recently, I had a vision about a friend. I text her. Because there was a time in the past, as I have told you before, I used to be afraid of it. I used to feel like I'm insulting people, and I used to get that, sly look or have people hide from me. I hated it. But I got the dream for her, and I didn't tell her. I texted to her, and 2 days later, the dream was revealed. And when I talked to her, I called her up to give her another dream. And she says, no, I don't want to hear it. Please, I don't want to hear it. Because she was just coming from this terrible situation where she lost a loved one that I told her about. And she said, I don't want to know. She says, like, you're Obeah man. So for Jermaine, I think the gentleman or the young man that was on my channel today was saying that I'm an Obeah woman. Thank you very much. I take that as a compliment. The only problem about it is I wish you would understand what Obeah really is. And I wish I truly understood what it really is for myself. The fact that my ancestors and, our freedom fighters in the past figured out ways how to use African spirituality to give me my freedom. There is absolutely no way that I would be ashamed of that. In Jamaica, or the Jamaican culture, the typical person who considers themselves to be religious, love to disassociate themselves from certain things and say that it's Obeah. But please understand, there's a difference between Obeah and witchcraft. Many of us are black magic, and witchcraft is being used on us daily, and we fully embrace that. When we think about money, for example, money is one of the biggest forms of witchcraft. If you can just imagine that someone could purchase a home for $1 million, and then they could purchase a luxury item. They could go on some expensive cruise or some expensive vacation and never exchange a dollar. Never touch a dollar and do all these things. One of the greatest forms of witchcraft. When you look at the dollar bill or paper note, there are so many symbols there that denotes witchcraft. But most people, especially African people, don't seem to have a problem with that. People went from all around the world and sat in Egypt, sat at the feet of our great philosophers and our greatest persons who understood nature and learned and then demonized it. So when we hear about natural disaster, for example, you always hear people saying, oh, the reason why people are dying in Jamaica is because they're evil, they're wicked. Reason why Asians are dying, Haiti, the people from Haiti are wicked, and all that nonsense. And they fail to see how other nations, how other cultures, how they choose to use witchcraft to do whatever. Now, I would not recommend and suggest that individuals, go out there and say, yes, let's just participate in witchcraft or in Obeah until you understand what you're dealing with. There are individuals out there who might have come close to understanding the way the physical world works, but they don't understand the metaphysical world. And these individuals might, have a glance at certain things and participate in trying to bring out certain results. And because they don't understand what they're involved in, what they're engaged in, they can find themselves in really terrible situations. When we call upon, some people say God, some people call the spirit, whatever it is that you call upon, be careful who and what you're calling upon. So even with the very name that you call in the church, if you don't understand the power of this name, if you don't understand, you bring curses upon your very own life. So a lot of times when you see Black people going through trials and tribulation in their life, it's because they're calling upon the name of beings that just work to curse them. And every time you call upon a particular name of a particular ancestor, you fail to realize that the blessings only come and flow upon those individuals because you're engaging in a metaphysical world, in your physical mind, not understanding how these things work. There was a time when I met a lady and she was explaining some things to me. I didn't even want to hear it. It was just terrifying. It was scary because we often fear what we don't know. And then we hear about all these wicked, evil people from Africa or wicked, evil people in Jamaica and how they work in Obeah. And the truth of the matter is, I think a lot of our African spirituality is lost, and that there will be very few practitioners in Jamaica, for example, who actually know what they're doing, actually know the true African spirituality you refer to as Obeah. So while people like to come out and deny that this exists, or want to come out altogether and reject it, whatever is your choice, that's your thing. Truthfully speaking, a lot of people who try to deny that it's real or it exists, those are the ones who indulge in it the most. Please understand that in everything there are polar opposite. There is up and down, there's yin and yang, there's positive and negative energy. For those of you who are interested in African spirituality, the different aspects of it, you can do your own research, find out more about the Orishas, more about the deities in the African tradition, before you start talking things you don't know anything about. What I want to say to you, however, that be careful about making requests from whichever entity you make request. Everything, if you're asking for something, make sure that you're losing something. Careful of what you're asking for. And those individuals who, like to say, oh, Obeah doesn't exist, or witchcraft is this or that, when you must spend time to get to know the difference. Know what you're talking about before you start talking, because some of what you're saying is pure ignorance. There is a dark side to mankind. There is light and there's darkness. You just can't deny that. And so the very light that you appeal to for grace and love and mercy and positive energy surrounding you, the very energy you can use to do negative. It's what you choose to use the energy to do. Is how you choose to manipulate matter that makes the difference between good and evil. So there are individuals who understand that Obeah is about understanding nature. Obeah is about understanding how to heal using herbs and things. There are individuals who are using herbs, gathering herbs and using it for healing of the body. And people refer to them as Obeah. That is so far from the truth. So if you're delving in anything that is dark, anything where you're asking to hurt other people, anything where you're asking because of greed for material possessions, know that there's no way you can approach an entity and ask for these kind of things and not lose something, not be able to sacrifice something. So you ask for these things, you make these requests. Please understand that as you make your request, what is it that you have to lose? Because there's a trickster. And so you go and you ask for wealth. Well, you might just get that wealth, but you might be disabled. Or you go and ask for a man that doesn't love you, and you're prepared to engage in activities that will cause someone else to fall in love with you under some kind of seance or some spell, and you get the person, but you live in misery. These things are real. They're there for you to find out, for you to know. And not all of it is evil, as you say. Not all of it. If my ancestors were able to communicate with each other through distance, if they were able to fight and free themselves from slavery, if they were able to heal the sick, to be able to do things that created life and created it with more abundance, I'm not sure if I would want to reject that. So the depths of what I would know in the spiritual realm is for you to know and for me to find out? Or is it for me to know and for you to find out? But I'm telling you right here, right now, there is no shame or no distance or no disassociation from me in wanting to know more. I would want to know more. I would want to know more. It's what you choose to do with what you know that makes the difference. Stay blessed, everybody. Any questions, any answers? I could tell you stories of encountering demons. And I say demons, human beings that act as demons. I don't have to worry about what I cannot see with the physical eye. I know what I see with the physical eye. And sometimes it's far more frightening than what I cannot see. But I want to know. I'd love to learn. And it would be me. It would be my choice how I choose to use what I know. No shame. Those of you who identify with African spirituality, tell me what aspect of it. Some people are into Santeria. Some people, have these different beings that they understand and that they, build an altar to. There are people who will say to you, don't do those things. Those things are evil, But if you look at the Japanese culture, these individuals are very big and retaining their ancestral memories and create tribute to their ancestors. And not just Japanese or different Asian people, but African people were taught that it's evil, it's bad, it's awful, and to disassociate yourself from it. And that makes a big difference in how we are here out in the elements being abused and treated like, I always say less than human, because we have not paid enough tribute to our forebears. We have not paid enough attention to our traditions. We have allowed them to poison our minds against the very thing that can liberate us. Stay blessed, everyone.